It's the eve of the draft. Last time I'll be on this program till Friday. I'll not be here tomorrow as we get set to do the Jaguar Network show. Jeff Lagerman and I will have that for you from 7 to probably around 11. So it'll be Carlyon, Ballou, and Hacker. Keep the women and children away.
Buckle
is what I got to say. Good Lord, that's going to be 3 hours of mayhem and mischief. Yeah. All into one. So, but let's talk draft today. I'm very excited. We're loaded up on stuff today. We've got our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week coming in just a few minutes. We're going to do that in the first segment of the program today. So that comes up in just a bit. And I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be today in the first segment. Brett Hastings stops by. He's going to talk about how some of these new rules and ability to make money affects the draft by keeping some players out of it. There's probably some players that over the year would come out that now won't. Hays, we've talked about it a lot, that the reality is there are circumstances where for the first time you can legally make more money to stay in than you'd ever make to come out. That was never the case over the years. You could illegally make it, but now you can legally. So I do think it affects some of the marginal players in the draft.
How could it not? I mean, if you're JT Toppin and Texas Tech is going to pay you $4 million for one more year of college basketball, or you could enter the draft and be, probably somewhere in the late first round, how can you possibly pass on that money? I mean, it's the money's not even comparable, unless you're going to be way at the top. I mean, if you're going to be in the lottery, then you should go. But if you're not, in this world of NIL and we're not talking, $1 million. These guys are getting multi-million-dollar contracts to go back to school, and that money is only going to continue to go up. So, that's probably a good benefit to this is, we always talked about, in college basketball, we never get to know the players. They're there for 1 year, and then they're gone, or in some cases, there was a stretch of about 10 years where maybe the best ones never even went to college. They went straight from high school into the draft. So, so now I think it helps college basketball. It'll be frustrating for fans because you're going to, lose players that you like and things like that. But on the other side, you get to, gain players. So, financially, you're much better off staying in, one more year of college, and they're not going to make you go to class. I mean, you're making $4 million. Who cares if you get an incomplete in History 300 or whatever?
How'd you do in History 300?
Not good.
I heard you got an incomplete.
I did. I think I withdrew before it actually hit my record.
History.
I was very good at that. The last second withdrawal before the grade became official.
Right. Just to show how simple you and I are. Well, you didn't say anything fancy. You said history. Know you're not very smart. The class I remember math.
Right. Yeah. It's like the scene in Good Will Hunting.
Right.
Really, just math. History. It wasn't like surveys. Oh, yeah, it was surveys. It was good. It was good. You should take it.
What's your favorite math class? Math.
Right.
I did true story. I took one. I'm not making this up. I took one math class in 4 years of college. That was required. I don't know if
that's impressive. We had to take two.
I had one required.
Yeah.
And I'm not. You know what it's called? College math. I'm
Fantastic.
I'm not making it up. That is a true story.
And you're better for it. Yeah. Would you have used any of that stuff? Any of it?
Here's the problem.
I've never used any math application once we got beyond multiplication and division.
Someone asked me one time, someone said, do you think you would have used calculus in life? I said, I don't know enough about calculus to know that answer.
I'm going to go with no.
I'd have to understand what it does before
if a player has 34 RBIs and they drive in 2 runs, I'm pretty good about knowing he now has 36 RBIs.
Well, and here's the deal. You probably had that second or third grade. I had it by the 10th, and then so there you go. Right. So anyway, all right, a lot of fun to do today. A lot of fun stuff. We will talk draft just about all show. Brett Hastings, Sports and Courts. We'll talk about rules in college athletics. It's changing every day. There's a new one we'll talk about and how it affects the draft. We'll certainly talk about that. We've got one more room to go into. We got to go into the defensive backs room. We'll do that at 4:40. Brian Sexton checks in live from Green Bay. He is at Green Bay. He represents the Jags there, the Jags media contingent there. And Brian will be with us right at 5 o'clock. I want to get the scene of what Brian goes to every draft. So he certainly does a great job reporting back on our Jaguars network. And so, but he's got as good a feel for it as anybody because he goes every year. He goes to the wood, no matter if it's in Nashville, if it's in Kansas City, if it's here. You would think Green Bay will be crazy for the draft because Green Bay's crazy for the NFL. So I'll be interested to see what the scene feels like one day out for Brian.
That'll be a lot of fun, and it'll also just be interesting getting somebody's perspective that is in the Miller Electric Center all the time.
That's right. That's exactly right. So what he thinks they might do, that's right. He works there. So Brian Sexton, Brian's a good dude. He's going to join us right at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock. We'll check in with him from Green Bay. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk some draft. We'll look into the secondary room, the defensive backs room. I think is interesting, and I'm going to tell you why. So that comes up at 4:40. Brett Hastings here at 4:20. Sports and Courts, and we'll do our Duval County Scholar Athlete comes up in just a minute. I heard your take. You now are locked into. You think they ought to do offensive line?
Yes, or McMillan,
or right, or McMillan. Okay, yeah. I've gone back and forth. I would say I have no idea what they're doing, and they have not showed their hand. They have not given me any wink information. If I see all the people, I see so many people on social media say what I'm hearing, what I've told, what I expect. Well, you're ahead of me. Because I haven't been told expectations. No, by the way, nor would I expect anybody to tell me. I have an idea I have an idea of some of the players they like, but that has nothing. That necessarily doesn't mean that's who they're going to take at 5 or who they're not going to take at 5. So I've gone back and forth. We'll do this out throughout the course of the show today. We did our media mock draft, and I love that, by the way. Mike Dempsey built that thing, and he does such a great job. He and Tony, and now Helmets and Heels does the second half of it, and they do a wonderful job. D-Rock picked for the Jags, and D-Rock picked Ashton Jeanty, and I assume Campbell went fourth.
That's correct.
Yeah, so it
was the top 4 that we've been seeing,
including Campbell. Yeah, so he picked Jeanty, and by the way, that was the same 4 when I was on a media mock draft in San Francisco yesterday, and I picked Jeanty. So if nothing else, he's gotten that's the narrative. Whether that's a total smokescreen, whether they're really going to do it, whether they're and I will tell you this: if it was Tetero McMillan, it would not bother me a bit. I wouldn't. Some people are going to beat him up because someone said, "Well, you could drop down and get him at 14." As you and I have been saying all along, you don't always control whether you can back up. Right.
If you can't trade out, the question you have to ask yourself is, will this player be available at 36? Well, he's not going to be. And so if you like him, you've got to take him at 5, whether you want to or not.
And how much you like him, that's right. How much you like a player, whether it's Jeanty, McMillan, Mason Graham, whoever, how much you like a player isn't always commensurate with where they're going to be, where they're expected to be drafted. Now, a lot of times it is because these analysts, including the ones within the team, evaluate it similarly. But it's not necessarily exactly commensurate. It's really not. So we'll see. So we have a lot of draft thoughts today. But we are going to start with our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week in just a moment. I'm looking forward to that. Again, we do it every day or every week here on the program all through the school year. So I'm looking forward to that as we bring in our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week coming up in just a second. So this is Cooper. We're going to bring Cooper over here. Cooper, we're going to put you right over here. Put this in, and we're going to say hello right now to our Duval County Athlete of the Week. JJ, fire it up.
And now, this week's Scholar Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
All right, it is time to welcome in Cooper Farah from Baldwin. Cooper, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a great opportunity to be here.
You're doing good? You're not nervous, are you? You look very confident.
This is it's my second time being here this season. So
he's getting
a little bit used to it.
He's poised. Yeah, he really is.
I'm excited.
It's kind of old hat. So you're a baseball player. Tell us all about your baseball season at Baldwin.
So this is my senior season. I've been on varsity for 3 years now, and I'm currently just pitching because I quit everything else. Okay. But it's been a pretty fun season this year. I've pitched against some of the best teams in the city, and right now we're currently 1-1 in our regional quarterfinals. So tomorrow night we play our best of 3 series game to see if we move on to the regional semifinals.
Why a PO? Did you choose to just do that?
So when I was in about 10th grade, I really got a grasp to love pitching. Okay. And then I started getting really, really bad at hitting. So I just decided it wasn't for me. I decided to go straight for the pitching route, and it's turned out for the better for me.
I can relate.
Describe your game for us. What excels for you on the mound?
So I think what I've been told from other people is that my pitches run a lot. So I like to try and dominate the most with my fastball. And I throw from more of from a side 3/4 slot, so I can get more movement from sliders out there. Okay. And I just recently started working on a splitter, and the splitter has probably been my wild card this season. It's caught a lot of teams off guard, and it's really gotten me a bunch of outs this season to rack up some more innings.
You a two-seam guy? a lot of two-seam?
Surprisingly, no, sir. I just throw four-seam in it.
Four-seam.
Yes,
even though you drop down.
Yes, sir. Okay. I've never been able to throw a two-seam because it's actually flatter than the four-seam whenever I throw it.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Okay. It doesn't really work that well.
Never know how your arm's going to work, do you?
Oh, no, sir. Not at all.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I talk a little bit about, you're obviously a very good student. Tell me a little bit about that. How important academics are, and how do you balance the two?
So academics to me, it's been very important because when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I made it my goal to try and get straight A's throughout my entire elementary, middle, and high school career. So I've been trying to balance like AP classes and dual enrollment on top of playing baseball. And it's actually worked out pretty well for me because I'm really close to attaining my goal, and it's just, I don't know. It's just
cool. Yeah. You figured it out. I like it.
Absolutely. Cooper, you're the senior class president. Talk about leadership. Why is leadership an important part of your life?
Leadership is an important part of my life because I know how it's felt to be kind of lost in a sense of I don't know what to do with myself. So I've been trying my best to try and be a role model for kids younger than me and kids I want to do similar things that I want to do. So recently, I've been working with a bunch of our middle school baseball kids, trying to teach them more about pitching, trying to get them more involved with just being around the school and trying to make the most of being better for everyone.
That's really cool. Good for you for doing that. Tell us about college. What are your plans?
So right now, back in December, I signed my deal to go play JUCO baseball at St. John's River State College.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to be a pitcher.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's with Coach Jones?
Yes, sir, it is.
Who knows a little bit about pitching?
Oh, he knows a little bit more than that.
Used to be the pitching coach at Florida. So he knows an awful lot about it.
Yes, sir. He's told me a lot about that.
He's one of the best. I can tell you, my friend Tanner Bauman, who Miss Talley knows, who was our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Year, went there, pitched there. Yeah. It led to him getting an Auburn scholarship, which led to him being drafted in the 9th round by the New York Yankees. And Ross had a lot to do with that.
That's awesome. And Coach, when I went on my visit back over, I think in August, Coach Jones just showed he cared a lot about his players, and I took a really big liking to that, and he said he promised me that he's going to get me to where I want to be. So I trusted him, and I'm excited to go play for him down in Palatka.
Well, you're going to have fun. He's a really good pitching coach. He really is. Cooper Ferris, our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. Congratulations, man. It's great to meet you, and good luck with your college and baseball career.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, it's time for Sports and Courts. Brett Hastings joins us after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
We got a great show for you today.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
A big show.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
A king-size show.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
I'm just going to cut to the chase. What you really want to know is, why buy from Arlington Toyota? Mia here. How about over 800 vehicles, one lot, 60-day exchange, and friendly credit for everyone. Plus, right now, you choose a pre-owned 2022 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $0 and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till August 2025? Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you, Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Wheeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hays here with a challenge. A challenge might not be the best choice in words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about a reading 190 by the 4th? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the number 260 be a little nicer on your eyes and on your joints? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in 9 weeks. Hacker dropped his first 40 in just 6 weeks. Dempsey, Blue, and everyone else I know, same results. And we've kept it off. The best thing about Awaken 180 weight loss, it will completely change the way you think, see, and feel about food. The results are real, attainable, and the process simple with Awaken 180. Take the opportunity and drop 40 by the 4th. It all starts with just one call to Awaken 180 weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
The best game day parking in all of Duval is at Tailgaters Parking. Are you ready for some football? Tailgaters is just steps away on the east side of the stadium. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and secure your season parking pass today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings joins us now one day shy of the draft. We're going to talk some college stuff, but as it affects the draft, really interesting story. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. How are you?
Doing great.
Is Hunter Hastings over the fact that Denzel Aberdeen's gone yet? As his boy.
He says he is, but I don't know if that's the case. You know, he says it's a new era. You got to go get your bag. I
told this story that one of Brett's sons, Hunter and Reed, both his boys go to Florida, but they've become kind of buddies with Aberdeen. So Hunter in San Antonio had on this Aberdeen jersey, but he turned it around backwards so you could see the name Aberdeen in 11, and Aberdeen saw him in the river cruise and came over. So he's gone. But anyway, I want to make sure Hunter's okay now that Aberdeen's gone. This is interesting. So now that the House settlement, we now know what it's going to be. Story came out today that it's eliminating 150 rules.
Right.
Like rules, but essentially what it means is the school can pay you the shy of what a collective can and can't do. Roster limits are smaller. scholarship limits have kind of gone away, right?
Right. You can have a scholarship for everybody on the roster.
Yeah, you could, and you can only, in your roster can only be so big. And ultimately, it's going to affect the draft because people are going to stay and expound on all that.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is the actual schools can pay the players for their name, image, and likeness now. There's going to be an NIL clearinghouse. You're going to have to report what some of these deals are. So there's going to be some other things that I think, we've talked about on the radio. People want to see, you've heard Kirby Smart talk about and everything else. But as it relates to the draft, right, what's the biggest thing that you would want to know if you're trying to decide, hey, I'm going to go in the draft or not? And we've all talked about Carson Beck and the reports, right? We don't have total transparency on these deals, and it's all conjecture on what he's actually getting paid, right? We're going to have a day where we'll know what he's getting paid, but it's our understanding that money's more than a first-round draft pick, right? Now, who are those deals with? We don't know. In the future, that deal will be with the University of Miami in large part. Most of the money's there.
Right.
So I can just tell you as a lawyer, somebody hires me to represent them, that's a game changer, right? Trevor Lawrence isn't worried about getting his money from the Jaguars. But we've had two sports in courts here. One where Florida's gotten sued for allegedly not paying money, right, by way of NIL, and Florida State's been sued with Leonard Hamilton for not paying money. So I think this will be a game changer as we get into the next draft. Somebody's put together a team. You feel like it's your year to go make play in the championship. Real money gets put up for a quarterback or an elite left tackle, the same type of money that you would have, if you were to go into the draft. And, the players, the families, everybody in the entourage, if you will, has got to feel better about the fact that the person who's going to be paying the money is the Ohio State University, Florida State, Florida, entities that aren't going to go away. And you're going to get paid because if for some reason they were struggling financially, the money that's going to pay for a lot of this is going to be made in periodic, media rights and, all of that other stuff. So it's going to be a game changer as far as being able to feel like, okay, this deal is going to come to fruition.
Will Denzel Aberdeen be able to sue Florida when they don't give him a championship ring? When they make him pay for it?
He's got the money to hire a lawyer. So,
he's got plenty of dough now.
Right.
Exactly.
Who knows? He might be back, for his senior year. That's what's so scary about this. And,
So how is it going to work? So Florida, let's just take Florida. So Florida, as all these schools can in the settlement, they can pay $20 million in revenue sharing to these athletes under the guise of NIL.
Correct.
But what happens to the Florida Victorious? Does that shutter or does that keep on keeping on?
No,
and then they become a supplemental source of income to bring in athletes and retain athletes.
Right. They will be supplemental,
But there'll be more money.
There'll be more money, right? And you got to feel a little bit better about that other money, right? What do we talk about on sports and courts? What does everybody talk as you go in the on season? Hey, listen, football, it's a violent game, right? And at the end of the day, you don't really look at these contracts. You look at the guaranteed money. And so this is what I would say to be closer to guaranteed money. And I'm not saying that these collectives aren't more sophisticated and aren't going to make good on their payments, but that's what I think is going to be, the game changer. I mean, heck, if you look at $21 million coming via the House, that doesn't even cover Kentucky's payroll. Right? Or not payroll, right?
Yeah.
They're NIL payments to players for next year's roster. So, there's got to be the supplementation that's going to happen.
Kentucky's payroll is higher than the Toronto Raptors.
So let me ask you this: as an attorney who's been an attorney for a long time and practiced a lot of law, obviously it's not what you do now, but you've done a lot of contract law because you've done some of my contracts, so I know that. Will the contracts, Brett, be ironclad? Will they be like professional sports contracts? I mean, what's your anticipation? And I'm not talking about, to Hays' question, I'm not talking about the collectives anymore.
Right.
I'm talking about the contract DJ Lagway has with the University of Florida. Will it be as buttoned up and ironclad as pro sports contracts are?
I would imagine so, yes. And it's going to be interesting, right? We have a debate in this state. I think it's clear for Florida State. We also have the Sunshine Law. Yeah. So I think we're going to start seeing what these actual agreements are in the same way that we can see a head coaching. So at least here in the state of Florida, we're going to know what and how these deals are and how they're structured.
What's interesting about that is if they do the deal through, like for Florida, through the UAA,
right?
That's a private. They figured out a loophole to that like 20 years ago where they don't have to share it. That's not subject to sunshine. Now they can,
right?
But it's at their discretion. But,
I didn't know that.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
But it will be interesting to see if those become public. The question I had, let's take DJ Lagway for an example whenever he signs the revenue sharing deal.
Right.
So could Florida put in caveats like we see in the NFL about, hey, you can no longer play pickup games of basketball. You can't engage in skydiving and, dangerous hobby activities that might, do you think that could be part of these things too?
Yes and no. You got to remember, though, again, it's a big fallacy. Those are clear contracts where someone is employed to play. This contract is to pay somebody for their name, image, and likeness.
That's right.
But I do believe that you'll be able to contract for a myriad of those issues, right? And so, I think we're going to get to that point. What I think you're going to see are buyout clauses that are going to be enforceable. I think you're going to see multi-year deals. One of the biggest things here is we still got to see these 150 rules. We don't know all of them, okay? But there's two big things that I'll be interested to see as they come up. One, they're going to try to put together an NIL enforcement body. What is that? What rules are coming? How is that going to be, effectuated, okay? And then when you go and look at the other side of these other specific agreements is how much transparency really is there, right? Like we can all go on, there's a database, and for the NBA, NFL, you can see what everybody's compensated, okay? We know there that there's a collective bargaining agreement. How much transparency is there going to be on those individual deals, right? Because you're right, and it's a whole show if we went into it the way the UAA claims that they're not in the sunshine. Well, Miami's clearly not in the sunshine, okay? Now, the question becomes, could you then do a FOIA request because they take federal funds, yes or no? UAA doesn't. But it'll be really, really important that we could see how much transparency there is. Can we see those actual agreements? Because what we see in most major sports, it's a collective bargaining agreement. You just pop in the terms. The unions put together essentially a master contract that everybody abides by. And so, what I would love to see if I could is we know that what has happened in preparation for the House settlement is the Big Ten and the SEC circulated a memorandum, which is Sankey going, this is what these contracts should look like, and I'd love to see that.
Final question I've got, and you were one step ahead of me. You said there's going to be buyout language. Madden Iamaleava, Nico's younger brother, left Arkansas to go back to UCLA, and now Arkansas is saying they want to enforce the buyout language in that. Meaning he owes them money if he broke the contract. I asked you that about Nico, and we said we don't know the contract.
Right.
Do you think now as we move forward, and first of all, will they get any money out of Madden? Can they block him? And secondly, will we have that? Like if a coach leaves, he's got to play a buyout.
It all comes down to the contract, right?
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. Will that be in the future contracts, in your opinion?
Yeah, I do think it'll be in the future. What I think is going to be really important is there's going to be, a lot of times we sign these contracts and everybody looks at price and term, right? Yeah. And they don't look at, is there an arbitration provision or is there a venue selection clause, right? Because how would you like to be Nico and to have this litigated in Knox County State Court, buddy? Because that's going to really change the dynamic.
Yeah, but again, as you move forward, when Nico goes to break his contract with Tennessee, instead of just leaving, Tennessee can say, well, your buyout's $1 million. So if you want to leave us, you better find $1 million or you can't play at UCLA, right? I mean, that's how it works with coaches.
I don't think he can say that.
Yeah. Well, but
it never had to do with playing. They're going to say your name, image, and likeness. Then this is why it's all a joke, right?
Right.
They're going to say there's probably a liquidated damages clause or, you have to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is in the future for, to be entitled to all of this money. And that's why we really got to go see it. But can you enjoin someone not to play when all you did was contract for their name, image, and likeness? I doubt it, but I'd love to see the contract.
It's going to be crazy the way these things are formulated. Brett Hastings from the Hastings Interview Law Firm. Brett, we appreciate it, buddy. We're going to go inside the defensive backs room, our last room, as we get ready for the draft. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser are the drill.
What this place needs is an excitement enema. We're going to make this place fast and loose.
Mornings.
Abundanza.
On 1010XL.
It's here. Beard's Diamonds' first ever massive sale on all diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets. Now through Sunday at 4 p.m. Save 20%, 30%, even 40%. Beautiful diamond stud earrings and gorgeous diamond tennis bracelets. Perfect for any occasion. Take advantage of huge markdowns. Best prices ever. Corporate-owned big box stores could never offer this extreme value, but locally owned Beards can. And it's happening now through Sunday. Up to 40% off. Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center. Shop local. Shop Beards.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. It's a big week for the Jacksonville Icemen. They're at home this week facing the Florida Everblades in the ECHL playoffs. And we have this season's Icemen team card sets in stock. Proud sponsors of the Icemen. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
It's truck season again at Nimnick Chevrolet, and this month you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 2.9%. Now, unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck at Nimnick. And available now, the all-new Silverado EV. It's designed to go the difference. The Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And ask about low-rate financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EV. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $3,000 in trade assistance. That is a great deal. So remember, who's got more Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. That's Nimnick. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability and versatility built in, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors to get the job done right, Z Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit Coastal Equipment for a demo today.
Greater power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in the clinic.
We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Listen to whatever you like, whenever you want.
I like this.
1010XL. On demand. Ad-free shows after the live shows end. Shadowed by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
Leon Cersei here. Let's be real. I used to eat like a lineman because I was one. And man, those habits are hard to break. I needed help to stop with the munchies and lose weight. But now, I'm bringing sexy back. I call Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their medical team is helping me shed pounds safely with a custom plan to help me slim down. And their firm pricing means same price every month. Hey, you want to bring sexy back? Visit Physician Guided Weight Loss at pgweightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
Man, I appreciate my friends from Coyle & Sons. They are the best fence company in town. They've done it a long time. It has been since 1927. They have been around the block and probably fenced it. I told you before, we needed a batter's eye at our ballpark, a big wall, and weren't sure how to build it and how to make it resistant to hurricanes and whatnot. And my goodness, the Coyle & Sons folks said, let us handle this for you. We called every national company that does these batter's eyes. And my friends from Coyle & Sons came out there and they had it done, and it is gorgeous and effective and efficient. And that's just one example. They do bathroom partitions. They do overhead doors for your business. They've done commercial fencing forever, and now they're doing residential fencing. So you can really trust them. Good people, really good people. Eric, the owner, is a very good buddy of mine. And I can tell you, 904-356-4821 is the number, 904-356-4821. You can find out about them at CoyleJax.com. The bottom line is they are really good at the fence stuff. They're very, very good at it. I think the best in town. So the best company in town, Coyle & Sons Fence Company, and they are Wednesday sponsor, are always a Coyle & Sons Wednesday on this program. Frangie and Carlyon with you, JJ LaSelva as well. Let's go into the secondary room. Quick, from 10,000 feet, your thoughts on the Jaguars secondary as it sits today?
I think it needs work. I still am very optimistic that Tyson Campbell is going to have an elite career in Jacksonville. So I don't have any issues there. He's had some unfortunate injury luck. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but I really like Tyson Campbell. I like Jarian Jones, but you need to see more. I mean, he's just going into his second year, but I like the makeup of him, and I'm excited to see what he can do on the perimeter if he, in fact, is the week one starter there. Jordan Lewis, I thought, was a savvy signing. I think he's a good nickel, and so I like that move. I think safety is a complete disaster right now. I mean, we'll see what Eric Murray is. Darnell Savage hasn't really done anything, but sometimes a free agent in year one struggles, and then year two, turns it around. So there is some hope there. Antonio Johnson didn't do anything really last year to distinguish himself. And I think Dewey Wingert is, I disagree. He thinks he's a starting safety in this league. I don't see that. I think he's a great special teams player. He's a good reserve, but he's not somebody I would want to count on for 1,000 defensive snaps. So, I would say at corner, I would add, because I do think at the number 2 spot and even at slot, you'd like to have somebody coming in that can develop. Maybe doesn't have to be pushed right away. So maybe a third, fourth round selection, but somebody with some talent that can be groomed into a bigger role as their rookie contract progresses. And safety, I think, is kind of a mess. But again, it's not, to me, like that's a position of de-emphasis. So maybe they can work around it with what they have and at least be, decent and not a liability. So I think they'll draft the safety, but they just have so many other needs that I would think that safety will be drafted more on Saturday, 5th, 6th, 7th round, somewhere in there. So you're probably looking at a guy that with a low probability of ever really helping you as a big-time starter.
So here's where I see the team is now. Here's where the intrigue is. The intrigue is at the outside corner opposite Tyson Campbell. I agree with your thoughts on Campbell. They went and signed Jordan Lewis, who I can tell you they really like. They think he's a very good player. But he has been a nickel, and I think to start things, when they go to camp for the first time or OTAs, he'll be playing nickel. I don't think he's an outside corner. I don't think that's what they want him to be. Jarian Jones, and Jarian said it on our air this week when he came in that he expects to get tried outside. I've heard the same thing, that Jarian Jones is going to get a look outside. So when they break camp or start camp or whenever they're out there together 11 on 11, I think if they played today, the first team defensive backs, cornerbacks would be Tyson Campbell on one side. The nickel, outside and inside. The nickel would be Jordan Lewis. I think the outside corner on the other side would be Jarian Jones. And so the intrigue is, I think you have to draft a corner in case he's not ready to do that. I think that Monteric Brown did the best he could, but he's probably not a corner in the league, or not a starting corner, maybe not necessarily one. So you've got to come out. You got to go draft competition, Hays, for Jarian Jones at that spot opposite Tyson Campbell, as well as drafting some depth. Safety's interesting as well. They really like Eric Murray. They think he's a good player. But I'm not sure, and I'm not sure they love the rest of their safeties in terms of another starter. My guess is they played today, Darnell Savage would be the other safety. Darnell Savage and Murray would be the safeties. But I don't know that they love that. Antonio Johnson's very athletic. Dewey, to your point, certainly knows how to play. He's a tough-nosed player. But I don't know that any of those guys are the corner or the safeties you'd want. Maybe DeAndre Prince is going to be a good cornerback. Right now he's the backup to Tyson Campbell. But so this is a spot I'm going to go a little higher. I'm probably going to go B+ in secondary. I think it's a B+ area of need because I really do believe they got to draft a safety and they got to draft a corner who can compete, whether they start or not. But I think both guys. I think they've got to draft both guys. See, offensive tackle, you and I disagree a little bit. I don't, because of what they did in free agency. I don't think they have to draft an offensive tackle that can compete for the job this year. Now, they may do it, and they may get, to your point, the long-term guy. But I think they've got to draft a wide receiver that can compete at that spot. I think they've got to draft both corner and safety, not necessarily to come win the jobs, but that can compete. I think they have to get those two spots. I really do.
Yeah, I think B+ is a good grade because, again, they don't necessarily have to address corner and safety in the first 2 rounds of this draft or even maybe the first 3 rounds. But you absolutely need to invest 2 picks in your secondary. And so because of that, it is a high need. Anytime you've got to devote 2 picks, in this case, they're fortunate that they have 10. So it's not 2 of your 7. It's 20%, which is, more manageable. But it still requires 2 picks. I mean, they are drafting a corner. They are drafting a safety at some point. Now, I think they can get away with waiting until maybe 4th round to take your corner, and then 5th, 6th round, 7th round to take a safety. But that safety is a position, too, where I think you always, as you're looking at your roster, you have to say, okay, we're not going to be able to, even the great teams, there's going to be a position where you're just not as strong as you'd like to be. It's the nature of the NFL. So you have to be willing to allow there to be a veteran churn in camp at a position. Safety is a great one to have that with, because it's usually flush with guys that have played a lot of football. They're looking for a job. They don't have a lot of leverage. And so you can add a player off the street that can give you competent safety play. So if I'm the Jaguars, safety is going to be something that is drafted, but definitely on Saturday. And then if you don't like what you have, once you get into training camp, you get a couple weeks in, you get through that first preseason game, then that's when you can start the churn. Okay, let's go sign this 7-year veteran who maybe has a little bit left in the tank that we can get at a low economic level that's played football and fits what we want to do, and you bring him in. That player doesn't work, bang, you cut him, you bring the next guy in, and you just keep the churn going as long as you have to until you find a steady player, which I believe they'd be able to do.
Here's our grades, and here let me tell you the way the grades work. The higher the grade is, the more they need the position in the draft. That's the way we did that, okay? Quarterback's an F. They don't need a quarterback, okay? So quarterback, so that, just so you know how, I don't want you to hear this wrong and think, hey, boy, Frangie and Carlyon gave Trevor an F. That's not what we're saying. If you get an F, that means they don't need the position, okay? So quarterback's an F. They don't need it. Wide receiver, we went A- because I think we believe they need a wide receiver. I mean,
absolutely.
Brian Thomas Jr. is very good. They hope they got the right guy in De'Ami Brown. They think Parker Washington's a good slot guy. They don't know what they've got in Gabe Davis. That's it. And that's it. And so there's only one proven guy, and even the proven guy's only done it 1 year. So we went A- there. Running back, we went B- because they've got we weren't quite dropping to C on that because there's still some questions. Hank Bigsby's got to hang on to the ball. Travis Etienne's got to run better between the tackles. So there's probably a little need there, but it wasn't a high need. Tight end, we went D. That doesn't mean they don't need one, but they don't need. They took 2 in free agency, and they already have their starter. So we went D there. Offensive line, we went A-. That's another one. We went high on offensive line because even though they got 4, I still think they need more bodies. I'm still not sure about the left guard.
They need elite talent.
Yeah, and that's
right. They need, and they brought in some quantity in free agency. They need quality now.
Defensive line, I went B+. Hays went. I put A next to it too because Hays went more A than I did. And I hear you. B+, A-, almost the same grade because
it's high.
Yeah, it's high because we know they've got 2 good edge rushers. Right now, in terms of known quantities, that's really all they got. They got if Eric Armstead, as he moves back inside, has something left, that'd be great. If Devon Hamilton can re-find himself before the illness, that would be great. If Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson and Tyler Lacey are what they might become, that's great. But right now, you don't know any of that. You got your 2 edge guys, don't even have a backup edge. So we went pretty high there. Linebacker, we went lower. We went C- on linebacker because we think the first 3 they're going to run out, they're pretty good players. Foye Lewican's a pretty good player. Ventrell Miller, I think, is going to be a very good player. Devin Lloyd, I'm not sure how good Devin Lloyd is, but I think my guess is he moves to the Sam, and we think we're okay there. And if Chad Moon was your backup, again, you don't play a lot of linebackers. You play 2 most of the time. And then, of course, defensive back, we just went B+. We think they need to draft a corner and a safety. So almost in order, wide receiver and offensive line, the highest. D-line right there. I think we kind of had running back after that. Running back after that. Then in defensive back after that. Then running back, right?
Yeah.
And then I think the lower grades we had realistically we're tight end. We don't think they need that, and obviously they don't need a quarterback. So that gives you an idea.
And I think that checks out. I mean, I think when we see their haul Saturday evening, I think, and when we come back and do Monday's show, I think that will be reflected in their class.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'll look like this, won't it? I think it's got a pretty good chance to look like this. So that's the fun as we kind of break down all the areas. They're not drafting a quarterback, okay? There's no doubt in my mind they're drafting a wide receiver. There's no doubt in my mind they're drafting an offensive lineman. I don't think high, but I think they're going to draft one. There's no doubt in my mind they're drafting a defensive lineman. Here's the interesting thing. If they don't take Jeanty, I'm not convinced they take a running back until the end of the draft.
They shouldn't.
You know what I mean?
The 4th round is a sweet spot this year. And they've got 2 picks in that round.
Yeah. I think if they take Jeanty, it's not, in my opinion, I said this yesterday, I'll reiterate it. If they take Ashton Jeanty, it's not because they think they've got a weak running back room. It's because they think he's a special player, and if you got a chance to get a game changer and a star, you go get him. If they draft him, I think that's the commentary, don't you?
Yeah, I absolutely would think that is the pro Jeanty camp.
Right.
Is he might be the best player in this draft. He's most people have him no lower than 3rd overall in terms of his overall talent. I just think, to me, that's 15% of the picture. The other 85% is, can you block for him? What's the longevity that he would be here compared to other premium positions? And again, I don't. Are you in a position after winning 4 games last year to take a running back at 5 when in the trenches, you, me, the fans, the executive vice president knows they haven't been able to move anybody off the ball in years.
You know what's interesting about that is everybody, not just the Jags, everybody wants to be like the most recent thing. So the Eagles are the most recent thing. And so it's hard not to fall in love with Jeanty because he might be the next coming of Saquon Barkley. So if you get a Saquon Barkley in Ashton Jeanty, you're becoming the Eagles. To your point, the Eagles had the best offensive line in the league, the most nasty, big physical offensive line. And is Saquon Barkley nearly, to your point, is he Saquon Barkley without that gigantic line mauling people? Because that's what they did.
And the evidence is Saquon Barkley's career with the Giants when they were, I think, 20 games under 500 in Saquon Barkley's tenure there. It just isn't something you can do if you're the Jets. In my opinion, it would be amateur hour for them to draft Ashton Jeanty with the 5th pick in this draft. It's one thing, and this isn't a criticism, you or D-Rock. I mean, you're making a media mock draft pick, and your career isn't hanging in the balance of that pick. And it would be fun to have Ashton Jeanty. I totally understand that. Yeah. But if your career is on the line, I just don't know how you take a running back at 5 when the team won 4 games the previous year and you know your trenches are abysmal. Yeah, and signing 4 free agents, 3 of which weren't even starters last year, isn't going to solve that.
Yeah, and I feel differently than that. But I feel differently. I think if he's what they say he is, I like the drafting of Jeanty. I get your point, but I like taking Jeanty. Where I'm off the mark a little bit is I don't have a good enough eye to tell you he's the best running back to come out since whomever. I don't. But if he is that, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the pick. I'm also okay with McMillan. I think that's a position. It's another position where you really need a guy.
I think taking McMillan at 5 is a good pick.
Yeah, I'm okay with Jeanty or McMillan. I'm probably the other way. I probably would be bothered if they took an offensive lineman because you just signed 4 of them, and you have 2 incumbent tackles. And I hear your point. If you don't have elite players, it doesn't matter how many you got. That's your point. The quantity doesn't matter if there's no quality. I hear you, but I would think you just signed 4 off. I think they're going to take an offensive lineman. I'd be surprised, and I wouldn't love it if they took one high, only because it feels like to me you have 2 incumbent starters. You really have 3 incumbent starters, and if you Cleveland, Walker Little, and Anton Harrison. Now, your point is, well, the line wasn't very good. It's not just because 2 other guys weren't good. I don't disagree with that. I hear you. That's why I think they brought in 2 more tackles to compete. That's why I think they brought in a new center. I think that's why they brought in a new right guard. And I think in time they probably need to bring in more young offensive linemen to compete. But right now, I'd love to see him get a star. I think the reason I kind of like the, and by the way, I kind of like the Jeanty things. I think he's a star. Here's the other thing. Boy, did Mason Graham fade in the mind. Now we may turn around. He's the pick.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
He winds up being the pick. Yeah. But at least in the minds of the, right. I shouldn't say faded with them because we have no idea what they think. But in the narrative, in the public, not just the public, us,
right?
Media,
these
public,
final mock drafts that are coming in,
he is faded.
He's fading,
and he's gone from the Jaguar mocks. It went from he was in every Jaguar mock to now he's in no Jaguar mocks. And part of that's because Ashton Jeanty is in every Jaguar mock.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy how it plays out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, let's talk more draft. Let's go to Green Bay. Brian Sexton is up there. Does a terrific job covering the draft for the Jaguar digital team. We'll check in with Brian from Wisconsin after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Intercepted. Rasheed Mathis to win it for Jacksonville.
This is the home of your team, 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Mosquito season is upon us, but don't let them take over. The secret to a bite-free yard is starting today with Kingfish Pest Control. Their 3-step mosquito defense process stops them before they can spread. Eliminate breeding areas, build a protective barrier around your yard, and monthly treatments to keep them away all season long. The earlier you start, the fewer mosquitoes you'll have to fight. Don't let those pests ruin your outdoor fun. Call Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
At IHRS, we're passionate about solving your hair loss. We're clients too. With the latest hair transplant technology, FDA-approved laser hair therapy, and PRP, we guarantee solutions for both men and women. Call now for a free consultation and receive $250 off. Hair restoration is for me, and it can be for you too. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can stand, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can stand, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
How likely is it to live to be 100 years old? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In the United States, about 5% of women live to be 100, but only 1.8% of men.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey man, what's that noise?
Do you hear it too? You can hear it, right?
Yeah, it's your air conditioner. It's like a grinding or a rattling.
And it's getting on your nerves, right? Like it's eating at your brain and you can't think straight? But it just keeps grinding and squeaking and taunting and nagging. You're not good enough. You're a failure. Why can't you be more like your sister, the lawyer?
Yeah, I don't hear that last part so much.
Yeah, but it's not cool, right, Jason?
It could definitely be cooler. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we can totally repair whatever that noise is and get your AC working smoothly and silently. We fix these things all the time.
So I won't be a failure?
Life should be enjoyed. If some irritating, broken air conditioner is making you crazy, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Summer in Jacksonville is coming in hot. Lauren Brooks here. Beat the heat with Turbo Tint. Their window tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays and keeps your ride cool and comfortable. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Riddle Wellness. The Orlando Magic dropped Game 1 against the defending NBA champion Boston Celtics this weekend, but have their first shot at redemption tonight. The Magic had big performances from both Paolo Banchero, who had 36 points and 11 rebounds, and Franz Wagner, who dropped 23, but want to play better as a team tonight. Franz Wagner spoke at the team's practice about how they can play faster to keep up with the Celtics' aggressive pace.
Obviously everybody running, coming back for the ball, throwing the ball ahead, and then we talk about some easy concepts that we can go to pretty much any time to get some easy action early in the offense.
Catch Game 2 airing on 10:10 a.m. tonight with tip-off coming to you from TD Garden tonight at 7. It's 84 degrees at 5:02. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
I wonder right now if Brian Sexton's sitting on the dock of Green Bay.
Well done.
Just saying.
They must have docks there, right? They
gotta at least got
ice fish.
Got to be at least a dock, right?
Do you have a? I guess you would have a dock.
Yeah.
Could you have a dock if it freezes over? I don't know. Florida boy has no idea how docks work in Wisconsin.
Right now it's the middle of spring. So what do you figure it is? Like 18 degrees there, maybe 20?
Yeah, best.
So we were trying.
It would be cool, with Green Bay having the draft. That to me is a stadium that I would love to one day go to. The year that the Jaguars were supposed to play there was the COVID year, and so obviously there was no travel, and they only go there once every 8 years, and so it's going to be a while before there's an opportunity. And they had gone in 2012. The year before I started covering the Jaguars. So anyway, hopefully one day I'll either get there professionally or I'll go on my own dime one of these days when I'm retired. But Lambeau Field is definitely one that I would like to check out.
Yeah, it's the only one in the league I haven't been to, and the reason is the year we went up there, it was the COVID year, and so we did the virtual. We did them remotely. We did them all remotely. So yeah, but I'm like you. Of football, of basketball, of baseball, I think one of the places I want to see is Lambeau, and I haven't seen it before, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. With that said, my buddy Brian Sexton is up there now. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you. We figure it's about 12 degrees. It's always 12 degrees in Green Bay, isn't it, Brian? Somewhere thereabouts?
It was 38 this morning. It was 50. At what time was that? About 1 o'clock when we were getting ready to do Jags AM. And I think I offhandedly commented, who thought this was a good idea? Right? I mean, Tampa Bay in April, 100%. Green Bay, it's a little different, but here's why it's exciting. You remember when we had the Super Bowl, right? And most people did not think Jacksonville was a Super Bowl city. And they don't have the infrastructure up here. I mean, we're staying in Appleton. There are people that are staying in Milwaukee and making trips up to Sturgeon Bay. But the whole place is on fire for the draft. And people are excited. And there's such history here, as you mentioned. It's a place you want to be. They're going to do a great job with it. It'll be fun to see it. It'll be different than Vegas or Dallas or Detroit last year. But it's fun to see a place with such a distinctive place in NFL history hold something like this.
Well, Brian, will it look and Brian goes to all these, so you have the best barometer of this. Will it look and feel crazy like Nashville did, or like some of the more recent ones did, Kansas City? Will it be like that, do you think, watching on TV?
I don't. The numbers that they're bantering about up here are not as great as the numbers for places like Detroit last year. They had 400,000 people show up in Cadillac Square on the first night of the draft. I know, because all of a sudden, right as the draft was getting ready to start, when people started to show up, there was no internet. There was no cell service. I mean, there was such a drain on the bandwidth. I'm like, I guess we're starting, because look at all the people here. It won't be like that. They're talking about over the course of 3 days, like 250,000 people.
Gotcha.
There's not the hotel rooms. There's just not the transportation that you have in places like Vegas or Dallas or Philadelphia. It'll feel like Dallas. Dallas did it inside Jerry World. But I don't think it'll feel like Philly, where they had the Ben Franklin Parkway closed off, or Nashville, where Broadway was closed off. It's the stage is set up in the parking lot at Lambeau Field, and the backdrop is Lambeau Field. And one of the things about Lambeau is you can see it from miles away. I mean, it's so flat up here that when you get within about 2 or 3 miles, you can see the big G on the back of Lambeau Field from forever away. So having Lambeau as a backdrop will be pretty dramatic, but it won't seem as chaotic as some other places have been.
Hey, Brian, it's great to talk with you. Is the Jaguars being the wild card in the draft kind of one of the bigger buzz items when you talk to other reporters that are there to cover the draft?
It hasn't been so much reporters as it has been just fans. And a lot of people up here who hate the Bears want to talk about who the Jaguars are taking. And I literally was just at Dick's Sports half an hour ago, and the guy saw the Jaguar logo on my golf shirt and said, "You guys going to take Jeanty?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure. I'm not in the draft room. I don't know." He goes, "I hope so." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I hate the Bears and I don't want them to get him." So there is a little bit of that.
Yeah.
People in Illinois people in Wisconsin refer to people in Illinois as fibs, and I won't explain it on the air because I don't want to get anybody fined. But there's an unhealthy level of competition between the two states, and so it has been interesting wearing a Jaguar logo to get a lot of questions about who the Jaguars are going to take. Now, it is interesting for me to listen. I talked to Daniel Jeremiah earlier today, and I mean he went hard to Jeanty, and Charles Davis, who I know you guys both know,
right.
Same thing, hard to Jeanty today. And then the questions from other reporters were, well, what about the Bears? What about the Cowboys? What about the Broncos who want to trade up? I mean, all of those questions come around it. So even when you're not number one, to have the interest in what the Jaguars are doing has been kind of interesting.
You work in the Miller Electric Center. We're visitors down there. You're there every day. What's the vibe? It feels great, and you and I have seen each other at some social events in the last couple of weeks. So, and it feels great at these social events that we are both at. But in the building, does it feel as great in there as it kind of seems like it does outside the building, Brian?
Frank, you've been around this thing a long time, so you know when the energy level is buzzing. And Hays, you're down there all the time too. There is this palpable sense of it's different this time, right? I mean, love Doug Peterson. I know you guys both do too. Really thought he was going to be the answer because he brought a Super Bowl ring, right? Yeah. Because he had won a ring as a player and as a coach. And so I thought, well, he's the perfect guy to come in, and you've got, Trevor and the quarterbacks. This would be great. It'll all work. It didn't. Sadly, it did not work out. This time it feels different because it feels like the Jaguars have entered what I like to call the hedge fund age of pro football, right? These coaches and general managers now, they're young, they're data-driven, they're aggressive, they're not scared to turn conventional wisdom on its ear, You get that feeling that it's different. And, of course, with Tony running the show, the whole thing just feels, the right word is right. It just feels like you've got the heartbeat of the Jaguars tied into the data-driven coach and the data-driven general manager. And, these guys, they come and they go. Coaches come and go. Scouts come and go. Over the years, we've all known many of them, seen them come, seen them go. But with Tony in there, I mean, it feels like it's connected. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
And that's the only way I can describe it. It feels right.
So I would completely agree. So when the pick is made, let's assume it's at 5. Take us through what's that frenzy like for you guys?
Well, here's the interesting part is when they first started doing this off-site, it was a total free-for-all, right? I mean, in Chicago in 2015, the Jaguars took Dante Fowler Jr., and nobody knew where to go or what to do. There was no order to it. So I just charged to a stairway where I felt like Dante would be coming up to start the media rounds. And I wanted to get him first because, of course, we had the party, the draft party in the stadium, and I wanted to get that interview on the big boards. And so I ran into Dante Fowler. The next year I got Jalen Ramsey because I kind of knew where to go and what to do, and I also knew the league didn't know to stop me. Well, now it's changed. I mean, now it's kind of like the Super Bowl. I mean, there's so many layers of security and order. But we will immediately be called to go, behind the curtain, and we will pick up the pick. Let's say it's Jeanty. And we'll get a quick interview with him that we'll feed back, that they'll take out to the Lemon Bar where they're doing the party. And then we'll follow him around to the NFL Network stage, to the ESPN stage. The national radio group is there. We'll follow him, and he'll sign merchandise and memorabilia for the league and for some sponsor partners. And somewhere in there, we'll get the reaction when he finally connects with his family. And I'm told, that if it's Jeanty, he's got a huge contingent of family up here. Wouldn't that be a story to talk to them all? Because I talked to him today, and I said, "You're from Jacksonville. You spent a lot of time there. Tell me about it." And he gave a Duval, man, and said, so it was really kind of a cool moment. So wouldn't that be cool if it was that way? But it just becomes a little bit chaotic in the sense of, man, there's a lot of things that these guys do from the moment that they're drafted until the moment that they actually get to sit down and contemplate, I'm a Jaguar. And we'll capture all of that. And, of course, it'll show up on The Hunt, which is the Jaguars, signature media venture these days, and they do a hell of a job with it.
Yeah, they really do. And Brian will have all that for you. Also, he's going to join us. He's going to join Jeff Lageman and me around 7:20 tomorrow. Brian, we got you working hard. But if you can squeeze a few minutes in for Lageman and me on the network broadcast, and you do a great job on this, by the way. Brian knows that draft like the back of his hand and does a great job. So we're excited about it. I appreciate you spending some time. Do you think it's Jeanty? Do you think it's Jeanty? Is that your guess?
Yeah, I just have this feeling it's Jeanty, Frank, and here's why, and then I want your take. It's because the Jaguars need touchdown makers, right? Yeah. I mean, with Kirk and Ingram gone, you got Brian Thomas Jr., but who else? Who else scores touchdowns? I think it's Jeanty if they stay at 5, and if they can get somebody to give them a king's ransom. I think it's maybe the wide receiver from Arizona, McMillan, who I talked to today also. And I said to him, he's a great personality. I said, "Hey, if you talk to Jacksonville," and he goes, "Has anybody talked to Jacksonville?"
I saw that.
Nobody's talked to Jacksonville. By the way, all the interviews that I did today are going to be up on the social media channels and things like that, so people can look for them. Who do you think it's going to be?
Jeanty. I told Hays, Mason Graham was in every Jaguar mock for 780 years, and now it's been Jeanty on every mock. So it just seems to me if the first 4 go as we expect, they're going to go get a star. And listen, one thing, this, they've been very good at not showing their hand. So we don't know if it's a smoke screen and they're taking somebody else. Nobody knows, but my guess is they're going to. So we will certainly see. Brian Sexton checking in. Brian, great work as always, buddy. We appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow night, and I'll remind everybody all over the digital channels. You'll have all kind of stuff from Green Bay. We appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.
All right, Brian Sexton, and Brian really does a great job. He goes to the draft so much he knows it. You know what I mean? He said if you do something a lot, the nooks and crannies.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dante Fowler. I mean, that's 2015. I mean, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think.
And he goes every year. And so
that's a lot of great experience.
One of my favorite draft stories, and Brian does a great job working with Baselli and Lageman. I can remember we were in the indoor, what was then the indoor, the flex field. We're in the flex. We did this the year we did the show from the flex field. The year Dante Fowler was taken, we were in the stadium proper, actually on the 40-yard line. But the one year we were in the flex field, we had done the Frangie Show right before, and I just was in for a little bit. I don't know if you remember this or not, but then the draft came around, and we're in the flex field, and we get to whatever pick 20 whatever. Jags have been good the year before, and they announce Taven Bryan. And I can still remember Lageman and Baselli looking at me. We still laugh about this. Okay, you're the Gator guy. You watched all the Gator games. Is he pretty good? And I can still remember going, I don't know that he is. I can still remember. And then I thought to myself, what have I just done? I'm the play-by-play voice of the Jags. And I just said, I'm not sure he's great. And that's not what I'm supposed to say. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to. And I thought, I'm not sure that he is. I mean, I still remember he couldn't beat out Joey Ivy. So that stood him. But that remember. And I remember thinking, have I just cost myself my job, my career, my life? But I remember it very, very vividly. Let's take a break. When we come back, Hays has headlines. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Where imagination drives passion.
Jacksonville, a city of dreams.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Big Chief Tire offers affordable quality tires for every type of vehicle. Frank Frangie here. Whether you're looking for all-season tires, high-performance options, or something more budget-friendly, Big Chief has the perfect set to keep you rolling. Their expert technicians ensure your tires are installed quickly and safely so you can drive with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and check out their unbeatable tire deals today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA golf professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. If you're going to buy an engagement ring, how much should you spend?
Frank, that's a question we hear a lot, and the guideline most often used is the equivalent of 2 months' salary. But I'll say this. The price you pay for a diamond is directly related to its beauty. If you want a big, cheap diamond, I'll guarantee you it's poor quality, and that's not what we carry at Underwoods. If you want a diamond of fine quality, cut to the right specifications for maximum beauty, not maximum weight, that's the kind of diamond we have at Underwoods. You see, when somebody's been married for a long time, they don't always remember what they paid for their engagement ring. They probably remember the sacrifice they made to pay for it. And when you consider that a diamond engagement ring will be worn every day for the rest of her life, most people will agree that a really fine quality diamond ought to be considered. That's what we specialize in at Underwoods and have since 1928.
That's Underwoods in San Marco, in Avondale, the Shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
It's the NBA playoffs, and Hurricane Grill & Wings has slam dunk specials like $3.75 Miller Lite drafts with 30 bold wing flavors, ice cold drinks, handcrafted cocktails, and big screens everywhere. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Enjoy a great day of golf and support Eagles View Academy Athletics. Friday, May 2nd at the newly renovated Bent Creek Golf Course. 8:30 shotgun start, best ball format. Find out more at EVAWarriorsathletics.com.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt.
I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with a hat tip to Jags today and helmets and heels for the media mock draft. Another spectacular 4 hours of radio. And I thought a really comprehensive and good job by everybody, all the 32 that joined in. I mean, when you think about the guys that went and the guys that didn't go, there's not a lot of spillover. Guys that didn't go second, that would be available in the second round: Luther Burden, Gray Zabel, Hairston, the Kentucky corner, Jackson Dart didn't go, Mason Taylor, the LSU tight end, Connerly, the Oregon tackle. But I would say that the 32 lined up pretty well with, I think, the 32 that will come off the board Thursday night.
All right, two or three things. Number one, I want you to hit a few highlights at the first of the round of where people went, just so people kind of know. You can go see it on our website, but I want you to hit a few highlights. But first, let me echo what you said and reiterate it. What a good job. Mike came up with that thing. You can't imagine how hard it is. Dylan Denmark does a lot of it, having to call and get somebody from every market and make sure they're ready and make sure they're there on time. It's a lot of work, man. A lot of work goes into that media mock draft. And again, it was Mike's kind of invention years ago. Now a lot of stations are doing it, and producers, and Dylan worked so hard, and the ladies from Helmets and Heels pick right up where Mike and Tony let off and do a wonderful job. So to all involved, magnificent work. I totally agree with you. Give us some highlights.
Yeah, the first four: Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, which led Michael DeRocco of ESPN, our good buddy D-Rock, taking Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty with the 5th pick.
Yeah, and which is what you're going to see in most mocks. And again, I did a mock in San Francisco, Hays. Yesterday, the first four were the same. I was on the clock for the Jags. I took Ashton Jeanty.
Then offensive tackle heavy after that. The Raiders take Kelvin Banks Jr. The Jets at 7 took Armand Mimbu, so a couple offensive linemen there. Mason Graham ends up going, let's see here, to the Panthers with the 8th pick.
And
so
what about quarterbacks?
So obviously Cam Ward went 1, and then I think Shedeur Sanders was the only other quarterback to go who went 21st to the Steelers.
All right, so you know what? And that's probably, honestly, very close to what the draft will, again, great work by everybody involved. It's probably where the draft will land.
Peter Schrager from ESPN also has the Jaguars taking Ashton Jeanty in his one and only mock draft that he released today. So let's assume it's Jeanty. What do you think the plan would be? Is Etienne traded? How do you think it would work if Jeanty is the selection?
That's a great question, Hays. And yes, I would think they will try. And it's a great question. I hadn't even thought about it. I'm glad you asked it. I'm guessing here. But I would guess they would try and move Etienne. I would guess it's hard to a running back in his last year of a deal. It's hard to get a whole lot for him. But I wouldn't guess they're going to go to camp with Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and Jeanty all on the team. I don't think there's enough footballs to go around. So I would think you would try. And I would think Tank Bigsby, if it plays out that way, Jeanty's just going to be your starter, I would imagine. If you take him 5th overall, But Tank Bigsby would be a nice change of pace, I would imagine. His running style, he's a downhill runner. So I would guess. Now, having said that, I don't know, but I can't imagine. I mean, look, that's 3 pretty good running backs if you keep them all. If you keep them all, then Travis Etienne becomes your third down back. Tank Bigsby becomes your backup and maybe even your short yardage guy, and Jeanty's your every down back. But I would think you would at least see if you could get any movement at all for Travis Etienne. Great question. I hadn't even thought about. Shame on me.
On this date, back in 1989, when it comes to the NFL draft, one of the best ones we ever saw, Troy Aikman, Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, and Deion Sanders.
Were they all good?
Were 4 of the top 5. They were all Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
The second pick of the draft, not so much. Tony Mandarich, who became one of the biggest busts in draft history.
Yeah, I can remember when he played here against for Michigan State against Georgia, and all the talk was about Mandarich. People thought he would turn out to be a good player. Never did turn out to be. By the way, I thought he was going to be good. Anybody now that can tell you they knew all along Tony Mandarich wouldn't be great is lying. He looked like a mauling offensive lineman. It just didn't pan out.
It just didn't pan out, but what a top 5.
Oh, my goodness.
Around him. Just a remarkable draft, and it occurred 36 years ago today. It's hard to believe. Let's get it to around the NFL away from the draft. We've got some news. The Lions and Chargers will play in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio on July 31st. So I love that July 31st date because it was a morale booster. Yeah. Because that means that, because I'll watch at least a few minutes of the Hall of Fame game, right. Even though no one will play. So, I'd like seeing the July date on that because it means it's a little closer than maybe I even think. That's a good point.
And you know what? And the Hall of Fame game, the shame of it is the game never matters. It's not very good. But all the stuff around it, I've been to 2 of them. We all went to the one a few years ago when Tony got in, which was neat. And, of course, he had a long weather delay. Remember that? But it was neat being there for the whole weekend like we were, the whole week kind of like we were. And I was at the first game the Jags ever played in a uniform. The Jags played the Carolina Panthers in the Hall of Fame game, their expansion year, and I got to be at that one too. So it looked way different. The stadium looked way different. The town looked way different, but it was kind of cool.
That's awesome. Let's get it to college basketball. The portal has closed.
Did Houck leave?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So if you were having reoccurring nightmares about Thomas Houck getting $4 million a year from Duke, you can sleep easy now. Thomas Houck will be a Gator, and of course you can still sign guys that are in the portal, right? But no one can now get in the portal.
I'm glad you clarified that. When people see the portal closed and Florida didn't sign any more guys, or whoever your school is didn't, you can still sign whoever you want. You now can't leave to go into the portal if you're not already in it. So, I'm glad it closed. Again, did you see the latest news? I told you Denzel Aberdeen got more than 2. Now the word is he got 2.5.
That's amazing. To not even start.
And will not be.
No one believes he's going to start.
No, that's exactly right. And I do think he's a good player, but that's a lot of money. Did you say that there's word that they spent $20 million?
I think it's very, somebody, I should have saved it and I didn't, but somebody, a college basketball writer, tweeted out, it was a graphic of the salary that all the Kentucky players are making.
Wow, and it totaled $20 million.
I don't know that it was quite to 20, but it was definitely more in the 16 range.
Jeff Goodman thought it'd be between 12 and 13, so it's even way north of that.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely. Speaking of that, ESPN updated their way too early top 25 for college basketball now that the portal has closed. Again, in terms of players that can leave school, teams can still acquire talent that entered the portal before the deadline. ESPN has Purdue number 1, followed by Houston, St. John's, Texas Tech, and Louisville at 5. Arkansas is the top SEC team at 9. Kentucky is 10th. And by the way, in doing this, the way ESPN did it, they also gave you a synopsis for why the team is ranked where they are, and then gave you a projected starting 5. Denzel Aberdeen not in the projected starting lineup for Kentucky in this ESPN projection, and I think that's kind of what, I don't think they're on an island. I think that's what most people that cover Kentucky basketball believe. So you're probably asking, well, what about the national champion Gators? They are 19th. Now that does come with the caveat, they do not have Alex Condon returning.
Yeah.
So if Condon returns, I'm sure that 19 goes well into the top 10.
Yep.
But Florida right now 19th in ESPN's poll, not having Alex Condon back.
Florida last year wouldn't have been in this. They were not. I think they were maybe. That's not right. I think they were maybe 18th or 19th to start the season. I know they were picked 6th in the SEC before the season. How'd that work out? prognosticators.
I will say I'm a little surprised early on that they're not getting a little bit more. Not that it matters.
I am too.
But I am surprised they're not getting a little bit more respect.
Yeah, I would have thought, without knowing, and I don't follow the other college basketball teams apart from the tournament. I don't pretend to. But I would have thought, just by virtue of A, the title, and B, essentially most of the front court is back, I would have thought and they got a really good transfer in Lee, I would have thought they'd have been 8th, 9th, or 10th, just for that reason alone. And I think you're right. When Condon comes back, that number will change a little bit, if indeed he does. But I would have guessed somewhere between 9, 10, 11, 12, if nothing else, a tip of the cap to what you just accomplished.
Well, right. And obviously, Todd Golden analytically is well ahead of a lot of the coaches. I mean, again, you go back to that Texas Tech game where they start fouling with 3 minutes left. No one does that. But analytically, it was the right play.
Right.
And it worked out even better than they had hoped. They thought they were giving away a point.
Right.
As it turned out, they gave away nothing on 2 trips. And obviously, it saved Florida's season. And they went on to win the national title. Let's get it to the NBA. The Lakers beat the Timberwolves 94-85 last night to even the series. Luka Doncic nearly recorded a triple-double with 31 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. LeBron James added 21 points, 11 boards, and 7 dimes. The Lakers got a huge win last night to even that series.
Yeah, the league, I don't care what they say, the NBA needs them to move on. The NBA does not need the Lakers going one and done after Luka goes there and all the attention and LeBron in the closing years of that magnificent career. The NBA needs them to keep playing. And so that was a big win because they don't win the series if they don't win last night. You don't go down 2-0 and then you head back to Minneapolis or head to Minneapolis and win the series. I'm still not sure they're going to win the series, but they weren't going to win it if they lose the first 2 at home. So that was an important game.
JJ, how do you see the rest of that series going?
I see it going 7 for sure. I'd still say Lakers in 7. Last night was a complete opposite of game 1 where they hit 23s. You could tell that was number one thing the Lakers wanted to do on defense was not allow that. And I think they shot 20% or something, complete opposite. And they just looked great defensively. They came out in the first quarter, like Frank said, knowing that if you lose this, your season's over. I mean, the next 3 games are on the road. So they clamped down, got a 20-point lead and just cruised from there. But yeah, I'd say Lakers in 7, but I could see it go either way.
Indiana takes a 2-0 lead over Milwaukee with a 123-115 win. Balanced night for the Pacers as every starter scored at least 15 points. Oklahoma City continues to toy with Memphis, winning Game 2 in another rout, 118-99. The Thunder led by 18 at halftime. Are either of those series doing anything for you?
The series, no, because I'm just not enough of an NBA fan to pay attention, and I'd be disingenuous if I said I was. Having said that, I'm intrigued with how good this Thunder team really will be. They were the best team in the West. They got the best player. It's showing up in the playoffs. They'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun if they're as dominant as it looks like they were. It'll be like the Bucks a few years ago. If it's as real as it seems like it is, and NBA fans who know way better than me say it is, they'll be fun. There'll be a fun team to follow through.
And they play the Nuggets or Clippers,
right?
So that's a humongous series in the second round if that happens.
Absolutely. 3 games tonight. Orlando tries to even its series at Boston. Miami is back in Cleveland down 1-0, and Golden State is on the road at Houston trying to get it to 1-1. JJ, anything stand out to you there that you're looking forward to watching?
Yeah, the Rockets have to win. I mean, these are your 2 home games. You're the higher seed. It is the Warriors, but I mean, they're an older Warriors team. I expected the Warriors to win this series, but I expected it to be, 6 or 7 games like that. If the Rockets don't win tonight, they might get swept.
In the world of golf, Rory McIlroy returns after his Masters triumph. He will partner with Shane Lowry as they try to defend their Zurich Classic title in Louisiana.
That'll be fun, but they're great buddies. They're like best friends.
And it's not a great field, so they may dominate this thing.
But you know what I like about this event? When you got guys who sometimes you just pair 2 guys whose games fit.
Yeah.
Sometimes an agent will pair 2 guys together. In this case, it's best friends. These guys are Lowry. Remember, he was there waiting on him at the end of the Masters. So this will be fun for those guys.
Let's get it to pop culture. Happy birthday, Valerie Bertinelli.
Oh,
Born on this date in 1960, Frank Frangie.
Yeah, I'm 2 years older than her. I always figured that would factor in. That was the perfect distance. A couple years older.
It all lined up.
It all lined up. God bless America and God bless Valerie Bertinelli. It's all I really have to say. Now I'm just going to sit here, smile, and sigh. If you're okay with that?
Absolutely. We're talking a lot about the draft. Well, speaking of busts, New Coke debuted today back in 1985. This colossal failure lasted 3 months before the original formula returned to shelves. I can tell you as a 9-year-old, this was my Cuban Missile Crisis.
By the way, Coca-Cola does everything right. That's why they're the mega giant company they are. But what were they What guy came along and said, hey, we've got the greatest beverage, the most accepted beverage in the history of the world in beverages. Let's change it. What in the world?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now, I want to see a 30 for 30 on that. That decision. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. Today, we pay tribute to the late Roy Orbison, who was born this date back in 1936.
Oh, that's awesome.
Orbison died in 1988 of a heart attack. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. This is Pretty Woman, which spent 3 weeks atop the Billboard charts in the fall of 1964. Happy birthday, Roy Orbison.
This is the anthem, and what a great choice that was. Who didn't? If you didn't love Roy Orbison, your love is off. Great job on headlines and a great way to end it up on the eve of the NFL draft. We'll be back. We'll wrap the program right after this.
Mercy.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing at the Talladega Super Speedway on Sunday. It is the Jack Links 500. Tyler Reddick won the race last year. There'll be 188 laps around the 2.6-mile Super Speedway. Ryan Blaney, the betting favorite to take the checkered flag. He's at plus 1,000. Joey Logano is at plus 1,100. Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and William Byron all plus 1,400 to win at Talladega. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson all plus 1,600. While Christopher Bell, who has 3 wins on the season, is at plus 1,800. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple bill. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's heating up at Ride Now Jacksonville. Get water adventure ready with the 2024 Yamaha AR195 boat. With its supercharged engine, innovative design, and water sports features, the Yamaha AR195 is ready for anything you throw at it. Originally $46,000, now just $36,000. Oversized in-floor storage for wakeboards and extra gear. Deck and hull design that maximizes space, comfort, and versatility like no other 19-foot boat. Ride Now Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. We'll meet or beat any price on all 2024 and prior models.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
Charles.
6.
Oh, so close. Betty for the steal.
What about the bank that helps you reach your financial goals? Synovus.
Let's see, judges. Yes, looks like we have a winner.
That's a number?
Sorry, Charlie. Remember, a solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Talk with Synovus about your potential today. Brought to you by Synovus Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. The number was 4.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Out here, you'll find a community of hardworking creators with loyal followers, along with proud moments worth sharing. And farm to table, well, that's just supper. And whether it's a raised garden bed, acres of land, or something for your animals, we've got all the supplies and are happy to share a little know-how.
Welcome to Tractor Supply. Into life out here.
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida. Be a Big.
If Liam Cohen is looking to replicate what he had in Tampa Bay with a pair of talented receivers, the 6'4" Ted McMillan would be amazing to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. McMillan is a possession receiver with the size and ball skills to create big wins deep. He also has a knack for adjusting his routes and working back on throws, which would certainly make Trevor Lawrence's job a whole lot easier.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, where have we been on the show today? We talked draft one more time. We finished our trip through the various position rooms and how important they'll be when the draft comes around. We had a Duval County Scholar athlete, thanks to Cooper Farah from Baldwin, the Baldwin baseball team, for coming by. Brett Hastings was here. We had Sports and Courts talk about all the different rules now that the House settlement looks like it is done. We talked a little NBA as well, and we get set for a draft tomorrow. I am in a good mood. I mean, we got the draft tomorrow. You guys will handle the show. I'm going to do the night show, so
it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
I'm going to sleep in.
That's good.
Have some eggs.
That's a fantastic day.
I mean, it's already started.
Just right there.
Yeah. You know what? I
sleeping in and eggs.
And I got to occupy my time tomorrow. Might sneak in 18. Should
nice.
I mean, if you're hosting a show that starts at 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sneak in 18, be done by about 2 or 3. All right. And you dropped Roy Orbit. Like, my day wasn't good enough already.
Yeah.
You dropped Roy Orbison. Did I tell you on air or off air that he was Springsteen's idol?
Off air.
Off air. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's
He's
really
Bruce
interesting.
Springsteen. You know the song Thunder Road.
Mm-hmm.
He sings about Roy Orbison.
Yeah, I don't know the lyrics, but I know the song.
Screen door slams, Mary's dress waves. Like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. That part.
Love it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Am I in a good mood?
Now you do know the lyrics.
I mean, now you know. I mean, you got to be in a good mood when you just break out Thunder Road on a Wednesday afternoon on the First Coast, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to see the movie that they're doing, the Springsteen. I think it's the Nebraska record album, and so it's like the early 80s.
Right.
And I think he and Orbison had a friendship. So I'm curious to see if
they absolutely did.
If Orbison, if they have Orbison in this film.
And the funny thing about that film, you've been telling me about that, and I've read a little about it. It was when he was still Dave Matthews like underground Springsteen.
Correct.
It was before he really never became mainstream, even though he had been on Time and Newsweek and all. He never became mainstream until the Born in the USA album, which was 84.
Right.
That's when Dancing in the Dark and Born in the USA.
Global superstar.
Yeah, right. Even though Born to Run was in the 70s and all, he wasn't the global superstar until the Born in the USA album. So, but I'm in a good mood. The draft, I love draft day. I think it's going to be fun. I love the fact that nobody really knows what anybody – we know what the first three teams are doing. I would venture to say we have a pretty good idea. I don't think anybody knows. We don't know that Will Campbell's going to the Patriots. Probably is. Ashton Jeanty's now being mocked by everyone to the Jags, but that's far from a sure thing. I mean, I'm saying that when people ask me, I say I think that I'm answering that because you're asking me for an answer. But there's no level of comfort there that I you know what I mean?
It's going to be the most unpredictable first round that I think we've seen in 20 years.
Yeah, me too.
With everybody having their pick, I think and no one really having control of the draft. And with it being a draft that, frankly, is short on elite talent, but long on good talent, I think you're going to see some stunners.
Yeah, I do too. And I wonder if it's a day when the trades are nutty, like the first, like. The biggest reason I don't think there's going to be all these trades, I just don't think there's many people to go up and get. I mean, to mortgage, not your future, but even to mortgage a year or two, a draft or two, to go up and get somebody, you got to really want them, man. And I assuming, not assuming, Borgonzi said this, now knowing that the Titans are taking Cam Ward, we're pretty confident that the two best players in the draft are Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. So by all accounts, they're going second and third. There's nobody left to trade up to get, I don't think. I don't think you go – Will Campbell go fourth. Jeanty could go fifth. But I don't think you trade up and get them. You know,
I don't either.
So I don't think there's – the quarterbacks – I thought the quarterbacks would rise. They didn't. Quarterbacks almost always rise. They didn't this
These
year.
guys have almost gone backwards.
They really have. The Shedeur Sanders thing is really interesting to me. Mia and I were talking today, and she made a good point that Bucky Brooks is a big fan because he's known him forever. Remember, Dion was on NFL Network. I had forgotten about that. So he's known Shedeur since he was a little kid. And Bucky's someone I really respect his opinion. We work together on the Jags Network. But others aren't so sure about the software, the off-the-field stuff. That doesn't mean he's not a good kid. It's just so
he's had a unique life.
He's had a unique life and a very mixed reviews after the interviews. Have you noticed that? Mm-hmm. And you're right. A unique life is a good way to say it. So an accurate way to say it. So, but I'm really excited about the draft. It's one of the fun days in sports. I applaud the NFL, Hays, for making it the incredibly big deal that it is. The incredible big deal that it is. I mean, it's amazing. Brian Sexton was telling us today, the crowd won't be as big as it's been in recent years. Only 250,000.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is.
Green Bay. So I love draft day, and it's going to be an awful lot of fun. All right, let's say hello to Rick Below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. Near your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
You ready for draft day, Baloo?
I'm ready.
I'm excited about the draft. I'm excited. I'm still not sure I know anything, but I'm excited.
I don't think anyone knows anything.
Are you guessing Jeanty like everybody else is?
Yeah, at times I am, and then at other times I'm like, no, they're going to trade down. If I had to guess right now, they're going to trade down.
You think they'll be able to? So again, to do that, someone's got to want to come up.
Yep.
And so that's I just don't know.
I do.
Who you go up and get unless it's Jeanty.
Yeah.
He'd be the one, right?
Well,
I would think, but a running back at 5 and you're trading up.
Yeah, that's stuff out of Chicago about them. I mean, they made me moving up higher to 3 or 4. to try to get Carter, and they're all over the place right now. It seems like they really want Jeanty, but, maybe Carter's the direction they go. So we'll see. I think there's 4 viable candidates, that go as far back as Denver. Yeah. And then, you could even make the case, could you scare Vegas and even get them to flip? That'd be a great situation for Jacksonville from go to 6-5, 5-6 for the Jags, but obviously acquire some good draft capital. And then, you've got the Bears and you've got the Cowboys. So, I look at those 4 teams as one that could move up to number 5.
It's going to be an awful lot of fun to watch. All right, draft talk tonight?
All that tonight. Yeah, busy night, and our final opportunity to really mix it with our listeners, because I'll be with Hays and Hacker tomorrow 4 to 7. Look forward to that.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you, Rick. Rick Beluga's into the night right now. That'll do it for this program. I will be back with you on Friday, but Rick and Hays and Hacker will have this time slot for you, 4 to 7 tomorrow, our draft preview. And then Jeff Loggeman and I will have the draft show 7 to 11 on the Jaguar Radio Network, and that includes 1010 XL and 92.5 FM. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ.